wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim, your favorite alt-right, racist, anti-Asian comedian, anti-Asian, non-Asian, or banana, your favorite alt-right banana comedian podcast, your favorite alt-right comedy, your favorite alt-right banana podcast. That's pretty much what I think I've been labeled as by the two people who care enough to label me as something. I mean, it would be my dream to be labeled as an alt-right banana, I think. You know, get some eyeballs and earballs on this, you know what I'm saying? That's how you got to get big nowadays. You don't just, you know, the whole idea that you got to work hard and then you play by the rules, and then you'll be rewarded, you know, for playing by the rules and working hard. That's for suckers, right? That's like the whole thing about the working man is a sucker, right? And that's like Bronx Tale. Working man is a sucker, Goodfellas, all those like Italian, like mobster movies or whatever. That's what that was all about. It's like, you don't want to be like a fucking square normie motherfucker. You want to be a gangster. You want to be a rock star. You want to be a comedian. You want to be a filmmaker. You want to be like outside the box. You know, you don't want to be going to work. At least that's the dream, right? That's the dream that's offered. Now, of course, just on the face of it, there's no way like if 100 people go for their dreams that all 100 are going to make it. Because first of all, let's just say maybe out of 100 of them, how many of their dreams are actually viable? You know what I mean? Like some of their dreams might be just to be a gazillionaire, okay? That's like, you could just ask a grown adult man, what is your dream? And he'd be like, I want to be a gazillionaire. And you'd be like, you are aware that gazillion is not a number? And he's like, yeah, not with that attitude, right? So there are people definitely like that. That could be like a majority of I would go so far. Let's just be generous, and I'd say half of them have dreams that probably not going to make it. Okay, so now we're left with 50. Of those 50 people, okay, most of them probably have dreams that you could probably make. You know, you got like some of them have like concrete goals. I want to be a business owner. You know, I want to run a marathon. I want to do whatever, art, I want to act, I want to do comedy, all of those things, all viable. Okay, now of all those people, who's actually got the chops, okay? Yeah, you got that. Who's actually got the chops and who works hard? You got to separate those people out. And of those people, who's got both? Who's got the chops and works hard? Because you got to kind of, those people are the ones that kind of make it through, right? And then of those people, who's got the luck? Who's got the luck, right? Now let's go back to square one, get all the 100 people back in. You know, fuck your dreams. Who's got rich parents? That's the real question you ask. Who here's got rich parents? All right, you guys. All right, you've made it. You made it. You're living the dream. You're living the dream because you didn't have to do anything. The people who came before you did everything for you, and you're fucking great. And now, of course, listen, I don't have rich parents. You probably don't either. Of the 20 people who are listening to this, I doubt. Maybe one of you might. And not to discriminate, it's not your fault, right? Just like being born Asian, black, Mexican, whatever, white. It's not your fault. You didn't do it. You didn't do anything. But you get to benefit / suffer because of the past, right? It's not your fault, but the history's a motherfucker. It's coming. The past is prologue, right? Like, and here it comes. And you just have to deal with it, and that is what it is. So on one hand, I'm like, why couldn't my dad be rich? Or why couldn't I come from a rich family? Or I guess my family was rich according to family lore. My family was a well-off family. We weren't royals. We don't have the blood, but we did have the dough somehow. I guess we raised the money. Who knows? Sold drugs, sold pussy. I don't know. Sold arms, running arms to the Japanese as traders against the Chinese when Korea was somewhat under Chinese rule. That's besides the point. Listen, somewhere along the line, the Kims, my Kims, there's a shitload of Kims. If I'm sure you know this, the Korean sort of family structure is like a clan thing. So you got these larger clans. So the Kim is a clan, Kim clan, right? But inside of the Kim clan, there's like divisions. So there's like different Kims, different houses inside the Kim clan. So we're the Kim of Kims. That's what they're like. My Kims are the Kim of Kims. I don't know what the fuck that fucking Kim. Actually, the Chinese symbol for a Kim is the same as Jing, which is gold in Mandarin. Gold. It's the same. So the symbol means gold. So we're the gold of golds. We're the golds. So we're Jews. Is that what it is? I dated a girl. Her last name was Gold, and I used to joke that if we ever got married, we'd be like, it's like we're having, if we use Chinese characters, it'd be like we'd have the same last name, huh? Same last name, huh? She was a lesbian. Didn't turn out. We didn't have sex for months. All right. So she said it was my fault. She said I wasn't sensitive enough, and I was like, "What are you talking about? You're the only girl this has ever." Okay. Anyways, the jokes though, she was hilarious. She's also Jewish lesbian. Hilarious. Some of the most hilarious people in this world are Jewish and lesbians. You put them together, oof, that's just nonstop jokes. Terrible sex, but the jokes, fantastic. Okay, segue. Sorry. Kim of Kims, right? We've made our fortune selling stuff. I don't know. Had a lot of money. And then I guess the first thing that fucked us up real bad was the old Korean War. So the war came along, fucked us up real bad. I think the Japs coming to kind of fucked us up. But, my grandpa ran away from the Japs because the Japs, should I call them Japs? Yeah. You know why? Because they were raping and pillaging Koreans, okay? Raping and pillaging not only my people, but my family members, my actual family members. So I'm going to call them Japs. Fuck it. He ran from the Japs, all right? Because they were trying to fucking conscript all the Korean men. And so he was like, fuck it. I'm a coward. No, that's how dare you call your grandfather. Okay, so he ran. He spoke fluent Japanese. He posed as a Jap man. And he ran to Shanghai, where he could also speak fluent Mandarin and Cantonese. So he posed as a Chinaman. And as a Chinaman, he ran a Korean newspaper. It was like an anti-Japanese propaganda newspaper. Just like a resistance type newspaper, right? Japan was seen as the sort of fascist colonizer, right? And the Koreans were appealing to the West, Americans, British, whoever, the white people, to be like, hey, you can't let this happen. But on the other hand, the Brits were like, of all the Asians, the Japs are kind of like the most whitest. So we kind of, so they had a little agreement. This little, I can't fucking remember what the agreement is. I think it was between Roosevelt, and the Japanese, where they said, we'll just turn a blind eye at everything you're doing in Korea, okay? So that's going on. The Japs invade Korea around the teens, sometime in the teens, 19 teens, right? Through the 20s, 30s, eventually getting kicked out by the Russians and the Americans at the end of the World War II, right? So then my grandpa comes back, right? Japs are gone. He comes back. And then there's a war. Boom, war. So that fucks everything up. Family loses almost everything, right? Because of bombs and shit. Because of bombs. I think when your fucking country falls into civil war, there's a lot of just jack moves going on. So people are just jacking things left and right. I can only imagine. I know for sure the dogs are being jacked left and right because there's no food. You know what I'm saying? They dropped enough munitions on Korea to level the whole fucking thing over. Korea is like the size of Delaware. I say this a lot. Korea is the size of Delaware, and they dropped more munitions on that bitch than World War II. Like conventional weapons, so no nukes, but fucking just regular bombs. Like all of World War II combined in the 3 years. On a tiny peninsula, they just because it was a guerrilla war they were fighting. The North Koreans were mountain people, hiding in tunnels, right? Hiding out. So that's the whole people are like, how could you fight the U.S. government? People want to take away the guns, and they're like, there's no way you could take on the government. They have drones and whatever. It's like, dude, Korean War, Vietnam War, Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying? That we've been fighting insurgent groups since the 60s and failing. We failed. The last good one we had, I think, was the Philippines. And that was an interesting time because that was the turn of the century. That was like the 1890s. And the Gatling gun had just come out. And the Filipinos had fucking yo-yos. Like that was the height of their technology was a goddamn yo-yo. And we had motherfucking, a crank machine gun. So we just fucking killed them all. And then they gave up, But by the time we got to 20th century, the scrappy old guerrillas, the little Asians we were trying to kill that were so easy to kill, not so easy to kill anymore. They got modern weaponry. They got communications. They got tunnels. They're fucking holding out. They're using guerrilla tactics. You can't even tell who's who. They all look alike. That probably happened a lot. Korea, definitely. A bunch of massacres you don't even know about because it's the Forgotten War. Of course, Nam gets all the fucking buzz, right? With the My Lai. Everybody's out, My Lai massacre. So tired of My Lai. Well, nobody fucking knows about the massacre of, I don't know, Kaesong. I don't know. I'm just making this up because I don't even know. I don't know. There were massacres. You don't think there were massacres? There were. So anyways, that's the war. War's going on. My family loses a lot of their shit. But they still had something. They still had a little something because after the war, 1953 comes along. There is an armistice, a ceasefire. No end to the war, but an end to the fighting. Syngman Rhee is the first South Korean president installed by the United States. He had a white wife and shit. That's pretty badass. No one ever talks about that. Fucking first South Korean president had a fucking white lady on his arm. He went to fucking, I don't know, Ivy League school and shit. Fucking a white lady, spoke fluent English. He was balling. For back then, can you imagine? Fucking Korean. This was before Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee had to, do you know how many fucking white dudes he had to beat the shit out of just to get a white woman? Right? Meanwhile, fucking Syngman Rhee, what does he do? He just speaks fluent English, goes to college, fucking just swipes him up a fucking white lady. Actually, this is not the first time I've heard of this. I've actually heard of quite a few stories of Korean nationals, Japanese nationals who came to the United States and ended up just hooking up, banging some white lady, getting them pregnant, and then having to leave, and then the white lady being all ostracized by Americans and Asians with their happy kids, back before there were any Keanu Reeveses and shit, where people were all just like, ooh, they love that Hapa shit now. Love it. Can't wait to get him on screen. Are you Hapa? Get up there. God, if I was a Hapa, I'd be fucking, I don't know, I'd have that fucking sweet. I'm not even Ken Jeong money. No, he's not a Hapa. Who's the Keanu Reeves money? Is he the only one? No, there's a couple others. This is a guy being cast in the Hawaii Five-0 or whatever. Whatever. They're everywhere. I'm telling you, Hapas. Why? I know they are because I'm teaching in schools and they're fucking everywhere. Okay, which is fine. They're beautiful children, beautiful, nice little Hapas. Half this, half that. I don't care. Mix them up. Everybody mix. I think that would be best. Anyways, so we're talking early 20th century, little Hapa making fucking Korean dudes, right? And one of them becomes president because he's a puppet of the United States, CIA backed puppet of the United States. Meanwhile, the people of South Korea decide, hey, I thought this shit was about democracy. I thought they were bringing democracy to our country. Why don't we have a democratic revolution? There's nothing they can do then, right? So they did. They had a people oriented, not even CIA backed, peaceful coup. No, they didn't kill the dude or anything. They just voted it. They just held new election. They just voted out. They just all got together, all the people, and said, we reject this first republic that's been created. We're creating a second republic. They held elections. And my grandpa was one of the dudes working on the campaign of the guy that was elected. My family has told me he's his campaign manager, but I take that with a grain of salt because I don't know. I don't really know. But he had a lot of his personal stake tied into this campaign, like his own fortune and all of that. And yes, and then the dude became president. It was glorious. The first democratically elected president in Asia, in East Asia, right? Fucking democracy in action. This is what the Cold War was all about, right? Democracy versus communism, right? We're fucking, and here it is. They did it. They elected a guy, and then the guy was like, I don't think fucking the states should have all this fucking all this beneficial shit. Like, we should nationalize our industry. We should nationalize all this stuff and have our own national industry. All our resources should be nationalized. And in 8 months, he was deposed by military coup. Some say a CIA-backed military coup, which would then ensure that South Korea would change its ways to favor the United States. Maybe. Perhaps. But in 8 months, there was a military coup. There was an end to the Second Republic, the shortest republic in South Korean history, the Second Republic, 8 months long, first democratic republic, deposed by military dictatorship in the 50s. Kind of the same MO as what happened in Iran, the same MO that kind of happened all over Latin America. You had yourself the military junta. You had a right-wing military dictatorship take over and be like, these are fucking commies coming in trying to socialize everything. Yeah, commies. So then there was like a 20-year military dictatorship from that point on, where, yes, the industry was nationalized, but of course, with most favored nation status being applied to the United States. The U.S. gets the sweet deals. Mr. Park Chung-hee, that was the dude. He gets to stay in power, ruling within iron. I think he was called His Excellency, which I think anytime you're called His Excellency, that's like a long-term title. Like a 4 to 8 year job, His Excellency. That's just Mr. President. But you're in there for a while. That's why I think the foreign leaders are playing Trump real good, by calling him His Excellency. He loves that shit. It's the marketing, branding. He loves that shit. Call him fucking Your Grace. You call him Your Grace, he'll do whatever he wants. I'm saying, all the Democrats would have to do to get shit done in this country is call Trump Your Grace. That's all. They'd just call him Your Grace, and he'd be like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Medicare for all, whatever the fuck the left actually wants. What do they want? I don't know. What do the Democrats actually want? All they want to do is impeach the guy, which is obvious. Hold on, I just segued to the impeachment, and I didn't want to do that. Let me just wrap up the whole Korea story and my grandpa, okay? So my grandpa lost everything. He lost everything. Our family lost everything, okay? In the military coup. They fucking, I don't know about everything. They still had a house, but so they weren't like totally destitute, but they had a lot of wealth. I could have been a wealthy kid. I could have been the scion of a family of wealth, where it would have been generations of wealth, and I would be so spoiled, and so I wouldn't even know how to wash my own clothes. I would have definitely have murdered a servant by now. Not in a sexual way. I don't know why I brought that up, but I mean, but maybe. I don't know. I feel like the depravity I'm capable of now as the son of a poor immigrant is really harrowing. You don't want to know. So you really don't want to know. I mean, this is why the dark web was created, for people like me. And just to imagine that I would have all the resources of generations of wealth behind that, oh my God, I would have a kill room. I would have some kind of, I don't know why I keep going to the serial killer place. I don't know if I would actually be a sociopathic killer, but I do feel like I would be a larger degenerate and probably a loser, maybe a gambler. Oh yeah, gambling and whores, cocaine, alcohol, booze. I think weed would be too introspective. It would force me to look inward too much. And who the fuck wants to do that when I can just buy my way out of this mess? You know what I mean? And with that mentality, I feel like I could have really followed my dreams, probably made it in stand-up comedy, much sooner than I will. I mean, I definitely haven't. I wouldn't say I've made it. I'm making something. And maybe one day I'll be able to say, hey, I made it. Because I know I've been making it. So that's all I can really say. I'm not making it in comedy. I'm just making comedy. And maybe one day I will make it in comedy. Maybe. I don't know. Or not. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. I mean, what does it matter? White or black? All this stuff. Does it really matter as much as it seems like it does? It seems like it does. Look at social media. Just look at, I feel like on the ground, in person, when I interact with people, it doesn't matter that much. I mean, it comes up once in a while, but it doesn't matter that much. But when it does matter, sort of in the public forum, like appearances, the world of appearances, the world. How many times have you had a friend that was a completely different culture, and you're like, this is just a fucking regular person. And then when it comes to other people, like their families, so the social aspect, then it starts getting weird, right? Right? There's pressure on different sides. Yeah, you ever date interracially? I have plenty, and it's there's always when you're alone, there's no problem. It's just you and her. It's just, it's just two people, two human beings. And yeah, there's stuff. There's definitely stuff. Like I remember my ex, fucking one Christmas, she made me an altar, like an Asian altar, a little Chinese, like a Buddha and a fucking incense thing. And I'm like, what the fuck is it? And she was like, oh, see, I made it because I wanted you to have a spiritual little. And to me, I'm just like, what? This is like a Chinese ancestor altar. Like, what is this? But it was sweet nonetheless. All I wanted was a blowjob, but she was gay. Anyways, I'm just saying, look, it is what it is. Everything is what it is. Past is the past. Can't do anything about it. We are here now. So what does all this shit matter then? All this sort of tribalism, like I'm this, I'm a that, and let's hold on to it. Is it because without that, we're kind of left with I don't know if it's harsh. Is it a harsh reality that, we're just insignificant kind of specks of nothingness in the universe? Is that what it is? Is it that we actually have no idea what life means and we're trying to make sense of it in any way we can? And the best way is to just, I guess, group ourselves visually, group ourselves historically. I mean, that stuff all matters. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. See, that's the difference. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that now what, right? You can't just live with that being everything, because then it's like just being a rich kid. It's like being a rich kid who didn't have to do anything and live out their dreams, right? And that's what we're all doing. We're kind of benefiting off the shoulders, not only of giants, but of the downtrodden. First of all, we barely mentioned the fact that there's a massive genocide that started this country, and we all benefit from it. Even those of us that were enslaved back in the day benefited from the fact that we genocided a bunch of motherfuckers so that there was living space, right? Fucking millions dead, murdered, killed, disease, just straight up murder, fucking what have you, war, whatever, whatever the thing. They were there. Now we're here. You can say, hey, I didn't kill no Indians. It's like, is that my fault? Is that my fault that we can't, every country, every land is conquered by Okay, yeah, I get that. Yes, of course. And you weren't there to split the first amoeba, and you weren't there to fuck it, you weren't there to create life from nothing. I get it. You're not responsible. But guess what? We do live on top of the bones of these motherfuckers. How many movies are there about Indian burial grounds? We all know back in our minds there's ghosts. If there were ghosts, there would be plenty of them. They'd be everywhere, and they'd be pissed off. You know it. And they don't give a fuck if we were there. You want to reason with them? Hey, ghosts. Hey, ghosts, Sitting Bull. I wasn't there. They wouldn't give it. They would just be like, you were all... Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to do it. We were all victims of the white man. You were all benefiting. Tatanka. I gotta say Tatanka before. Tatanka. You have you know what? The Comanches could have murdered Tatankas. Okay, that's... Listen to the last Joe Rogan. All right. I think maybe we should wind this down. What do you think? What did I fucking talk about? I was like, whatever I do, I don't really want to talk about the politics, the impeachment, and this and that. So what did I end up talking about? My grandpa, my family history. I talked about how none of it matters, but it does. It does and it doesn't. It makes up who I am, but it's not all who I am, right? Because I'm forging my own destiny in a world that's potentially predetermined, deterministically. So maybe I have no free will. I don't know. There's no way of knowing. No way of knowing. So all I can do is just live, right? All I can do is just live. Listen, the world is a vampire. No, the world, look, we live in a hypocritical. We live in a hypocritical world, okay? We all say we believe in good, we believe in right, we believe in good stuff, but meanwhile, the very means of keeping us alive all this industrial agriculture technology, the fucking phones, the fucking electricity, all of it, it comes at a cost, right? Someone's getting fucked for us to live like this. We, as in Americans, live like goddamn kings, okay? And yeah, sure, some of us are so kingly that it's just preposterous, the amount of wealth that they have, the amount of disparity of wealth. And most of us have fucking nothing. But even those of us with fucking nothing have way more than people used to fucking have. Like, we're lucky as fuck. We're lucky as fuck. And the reason we have it, a lot of it, is because it was taken, it was stolen, and people were murdered for it, okay? So that we could benefit. And we benefit. So instead of being little bitches and fucking whining all the time and being like, where did you go? How did you be? And then fucking, and being fucking robotic parrots just parroting everything. Devin Nunes, Andrew Shaw, Lieutenant Colonel Vinland, Lieutenant Colonel, marching lockstep with fucking convention, fucking just doing whatever, everybody, this is what the news says, so this is what I believe, because that is what the news says. And if you don't believe it, you are a bad enemy, you're a Nazi and an enemy and a bad. Like, it's just like, if you believe this, then you must be a Trump supporter. Is, you know, where everything's so politicized that even the idea of logic and reason becomes politicized. Anytime I argue these political things, I come from a point of reason and logic, and then I'm immediately pigeonholed as the opposite side. So if I come at somebody who's a lefty, they say I'm a righty. If I come at a righty, they say I'm a lefty, because that's their paradigms. That's all they. So if that's where they are at, it's hard for me to, as somebody who's trying to come from a place of reason and logic, to even entertain what they're saying as actually reasonable. Because no matter what, they're clearly coming at it from an emotional place. They're clearly just painting everybody. It's like us versus them, enemy tribe, enemy mentality, which is exactly what's being created in this country through this whole idea of identity politics, and you are who you are, and who you are is really the group, right? Which I'm bringing it full circle. Thank God I didn't wrap up. Okay, yeah, full circle. Boom, here we go. So that, I guess that's my point, right? You are who you are, and sure, you are some of the whole of you, the sum of the parts of the past that come together. But that stuff is used against you. It's marketed. And the team stuff is used against you. It's all marketing. It's all to get you to be on a team, to buy stuff, to think a certain way, to all think a certain way. Just look on Facebook. Just try to look on Facebook and imagine yourself as an anthropologist and look at how people talk about the government, the state, the impeachment process, the president, like all this governmental shit, like how their words are the exact same words that are being used in the media, how they're emotional. They're emotional over things that have little to do with them. They don't even know who their own congressperson is. They probably have no idea where their kids are. Let's be honest, okay? Just say, you know, and then what does this all do? What is the point of all this and why? I mean, in the end, it just seems to be money. People are making money hand over fist. Eyeballs, the ratings, the fucking ratings bonanza this impeachment hearing thing is. The fucking rating. Trump has energized the news, injected billions of dollars into the fucking news cycles, into the news companies, because he's everything he does is news. If he tweets something, it's news. If he likes something, it's like, hey, right? And we're all just running around. Meanwhile, we got whole cities without water. We got children fucking starving, dying in the streets. We got children starving overseas because of our sanctions. We got them dying because of the bombs that are being dropped on them, or missiles being fired at them from us, from people who buy our weapons, from people who are our allies. And yes, there's bad guys too, the other side. The other side is also fucking everything up. All this is going on, and meanwhile, we're just running around. It's like, hey, Disney Plus. Disney Plus is great. I'm so tired of the Epstein. But meanwhile, I need to have a Coca-Cola and the new Coca-Cola. You know, we're a nation of consumers. We're a nation of non-critical thinking, knee-jerk reactionary babies, kept in a permanent adolescence, you know, with our superhero movies, constant nostalgia, constant, you know, this and that. No actual thought as to what to do about the present, how to fix the actual problems we have, how to move forward. as a nation, as a global society, taking on challenges like possible climate change, possible asteroid coming, things that could be global challenges that are facing us. We're not prepared for any of that shit at all. We can barely fucking live our lives. You know? We have an opioid crisis. We have a crisis of despair in this country. People, economic despair everywhere. Meanwhile, race is being used to divide us. Politics is being used to divide us. No real solutions being offered by the left, who is the party of the people. Yeah, I mean, there's the Medicare for all. They have a couple things, but what have you really got for us? What have you got for us? Huh? What have you got for us? We got the fucking country's hurting, dying. Okay? People are dying out there. They fucking they're eating garbage. What are you doing? Okay? What are you doing? Trump is just giving tax breaks to the rich. He's like, all right, well, fuck it. Can't help the poor. Let's help the rich. I'm like, okay, but that is what the right does. The right always does that, and that's part of how we got in this mess. But you know who else ended up doing it? The so-called left, okay? The fucking so-called left was just as great to the rich as the right has been, okay? So then who is truly the party of the rich? None of that shit works out anymore. The left isn't the party of the people, or the Democrats aren't the party of the people. You know, that neither party is the party of the people. They're both the party of plutocrats, oligarchs, right? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, you know, this is just my point of view. Just some guy, some alt-right banana comedian. That's right. So follow me. Follow me on my alt-right banana website, rojankim.com. Go on my alt-right banana Twitter account, rojankim, at rojankim on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe, please, to the podcast. Subscribe. Dates. Any dates come? No, it's the holidays. There's no. I'm grinding. Am I? Yeah, I'm starting to. I took a little break. Okay, things are a little hairy. Took a little break from the comedy, but I'm out there in these streets. All right, thank you for listening.